Several years ago, I ran across a quote from John Rolfe that noted the arrival of the first 20 and odd slaves. The fact that in history classes from 7th grade up, the two paragraphs or 2 pages maybe that we allotted to the arrival of slaves in America didn't describe anything other than slaves came. The other thing that bothered me is you didn't know who they were. It was just one big clump of slaves. And Octavia Paz, the Mexican Nobel laureate, says that poetry is the struggle of memory against forgetting. So to forget these people, or to forget their names, forget their point of origin, to forget that they came here with skills, personalities, differences of opinions, all of those things that that any group of 23 people would have, was the basis for the poem. When I first read the poem in public at the Downrigging ceremony a year ago, I guess now, or over a year ago, I knew immediately on stage, even at home reading, practicing it, I began to realize this, but on stage it was very apparent to me that it would be interesting, if not entertaining, theatrical, if these roles were actually divided, rather than to have me try to impart all of those parts in very brief statements. Is that I hope in the introduction of these characters we begin to see elements of the African retentions. Those retentions of Africanisms that still exist today in the rhythms, in the cuisine, in the fashion, in the style, and the patterns of speech, all of those things. And they had to pick up words that were necessary for them to communicate with anyone, you know, and they were imposing African grammatical patterns onto them. You know, when African Americans today, when they say this and that, it's because TH is rarely found in African languages. So, and there are other things like L and R are also words that become difficult. So even in today's speech patterns, when you listen to hip hop, when you hear those little things, and people attribute that to blacks often, or to African Americans often, as being ignorant, unable to learn the English language, unable to speak properly, you know. And there's all of those things. I mean, there are so many stories that are untold that way.
And here you are, we're going to tell 23 of them.
Yeah, we're going to tell 23 of them, and I'm looking forward to see that we do it. And, you know.